Okay, so first thing we're going to do is do our star stories. I think I said it in the wrong order when you left, but that's how I usually do it, is the star stories. So we'll get both star stories to come up here and just stand right here. I'll just move out of the way. And come on up, star stories. Just stand right here. There you go, don't be shy. And what you'll do is, first thing you do is say your name. Now, do you guys remember what we do when somebody says their name? Remember from last week? What do we do? Do you remember? Put your hand over here and go like that. So just make sure you do that nice and loud for them. Go ahead, whoever wants to go first.
So my name is Arbaz.
Hi, Arbaz.
My name is Peter Jagpal.
Oh, not yet. Sorry, when it's your turn.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll do you separate.
So my
Go ahead.
star story is that I went door knocking for 5 days, and on the last day, I had a really good conversation with a potential buyer, and so I'm going to
That's
follow
good.
up and try and book an appointment.
Right on, give him a hand. Guys. Just stay up there for a second, Arbaz. Who's next?
My name is Peter Jagpal.
Hi, Peter.
So I went to 3 meetings, and they're thinking to come on board to sell their house, but
Okay.
just the interest rate went up. That kind of scared them away. But I did get some other listings up, and sold one house as well.
And how many points you get this week?
6.
Give him a hand, you guys. Congratulations. Good job. Have a seat there, you guys. Go ahead. Have a seat. All right, so now we just need a drum roll, please, for the runner-up team of the week. You know what a drum roll is? And that is Team A. Team A, if you want to get up and say your motto or war cry, if you don't mind, please. Just do it all together.
Buyer, seller, results, change.
Yeah. Okay, 1, 2, 3.
Buyers, sellers, results, cha-ching.
Chang, give them a hand, Team A. Team B. All right, so we've got, let's see what we have here. One listing. Okay, that's Team A, right? And if you can just turn the name thing for me on there, if you don't mind. Thank you. And then we've got, you guys can sit. Go ahead, just say motto or war cry, that's fine. We've got one listing, 0 sales, 1 listing sold, for a total. Now we only have a couple of people on that are counting right now, even though there's a few newly, not quite licensed yet. They'll count next week. So gives you an average of 1.0. Appointments booked. I'll have to write it a little bigger for me. I have to get my glasses. I think that's a 2. And a 1, appointments of 10. Give them a hand, you guys. All right. That brings us to Team B. Why don't you guys get up and do your motto or war cry as top team of the week?
Team Go Getters.
Go Getters, last in the list.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3.
Team Go Getters.
Go Getters.
Last district.
Different time zone for everybody. I think captain has to take control and say on 3 or after 3. And the other team has to be quiet. And
Last to list to take on 3. 1, 2, 3. Go Getters, last to list to change.
hey, that was better. Give them a hand, Team A. Okay, so Team B has 9 listings. Wow. 1 and 1 for a total of 11. And there's 5 people on the team. Give them an average of 2.2. Appointments booked 12 and appointments attended 11. Pretty good, yes.
It should be 1.86.
What's that?
It should be 1.86.
Somebody's got to change the math.
Is it 5? Oh, 5. I thought it was 6.
There. So if you have to change it, just,
No,
No, it's 11 by 5.
what's that?
That's good. Right.
Is there something wrong here?
No,
We're on a recording here too. What happened? Did I miss something?
no.
Oh, okay. I thought somebody said we had it all wrong. All right, so let's see, what's next? Anything you guys can think of next? Should we just dig into the training?
Yes.
Please.
Okay. Well, Team A will be happy about that.
Okay.
Oh, our trophy.
Oh!
Our trophy.
No, so I figured.
Our trophy.
Yeah, because I mentioned it a couple of times. So, do you want your trophy for top team?
Yes,
ready?
please.
Then tell them how they need to deliver it.
You need to bow to us.
Okay, there you go, Captain. Captain, go ahead and get your team up. Get them to walk behind you. You can walk in front of the camera and go over to that side and give it to her. Just say, you're not worthy. Oh, no. There you go.
It saddens me to have to bring this over, but thank you.
You can get it back next week.
Good job, guys.
Thank you.
All right, give him a hand, guys. It's good team spirit. Now that's just the first week. You guys, you still had average of 1.0, and there's a few of you that are just getting licensed, so you'll be counting next week. So you'll probably give this team a run for their money, because we do an average. Even though we have smaller teams, it's still an average. Question is, can you get over 2.2? And can you also get higher than 2.2? Because they're coming after you.
Yes.
And then you guys think about how you're gonna get them to deliver that trophy. I'd make them come around here, but there's stuff to trip over. I don't want anybody wanna trip over this unless you're careful. You could do a bigger version if you want. So, let's get into today's lesson, fair enough?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, oh, before I do, I just wanna mention, last week there was a couple of things that we had to start to do, but we also introduced a company to you that will help you with some leads and will help you with your CRM. So don't forget that Exact Contact is free. Okay, so make sure you sign up for that unless you already have a CRM. But it's free and you get it for 6 months if you're a new person. And it's a really good program, all right? So how many of you remember me talking about that? Yeah, so I would make sure you sign up for it. So what else was there? Let's go into the second key to success. What was the first key? I forget.
Attitude.
Attitude. How's your attitude?
Great.
Did you give yourself a checkup from the neck up just to get going today?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, we just have to do it. And the second key to success is to book
Appointments.
appointments. Not appointment. There's an S there.
Multiple.
So multiple appointments. How many appointments?
3 at
3 a
least.
week.
Or
At least.
more.
Or more, yeah.
I like more better. So, if you got 3 on Monday and you still feel like working, let's say you're just motivated, you're excited, there's nothing wrong with booking more, is there? And I don't mean that in a sarcastic way. I mean, I've seen some people have 5, 6, 7 appointments in a week. I knew this one guy when he was brand new. He was so driven that he knew when he got into real estate, before he got into real estate, he said, I'm going to build a massive team and I'll sell it at first. And he did it for about the first 10 years. And now he's had a team for a couple of decades in Edmonton, right? So 15 people on his team. He doesn't really sell, he supports them, that type of thing. But when his first year, he was, how old would he have been then? Probably about 25. Okay, and he said he's going to build this team, and he would do over 25 listing appointments a week. He would do everything he could to go on appointments. His first year, he did 160 deals by himself. Now, I'm not saying that we're going to do the same as him, but we could maybe do a quarter of what he did at least. Would you say?
Yes.
But he was, he just kept going. He was so driven. He just said, "I'm going to do this. Nothing's going to stop me." He went through as many no's to get a yes as possible, but that's an amazing number, and it's a true number. It's 160 sales, not transactions, sales. But he was going on dozens of appointments a week. And think about it. If you go meet somebody to talk to them about the sale of their house, how long do you think it would take on average just to talk with them, and then they might want to list? How long would you think? 6 hours?
No.
8 hours?
No.
Should I go more? 10 hours?
No.
Oh, less. Oh, okay. So 5 hours?
No.
Oh, no. 4?
No.
3? Maybe. 2? So 2 or 3 hours, right? When you include driving and getting prepared and everything. So let's say 3 hours. If you don't have another job, let's say you're just working real estate full time, you could work 6 to 9 hours a day if you wanted to, right? So you could literally fit in at least 2 listing appointments a day, maybe even 3 sometimes, if you wanted to. Okay, before you go to, but, remember that word but always gets in the way. How do I get leads? Well, we're going to talk about that today. Let's just pretend we already got lots of leads. Let's just pretend, for argument's sake. How many could you go on if they wanted you to come and they were ready for it? You could go on 3 a day. And if you work just 5 days a week, how many appointments is that?
15.
15. And we're saying 3. Like 3, not 15. And I'm just saying that try to get more. I've seen this so many times when realtors will try for 3 and they'll get 1. So I would think maybe we should try for 5 to get our 3. But what if you want 5? Why don't you try for 10?
Yes.
And get 7? And as soon as your mind says, I can't do that, just go, I don't need to hear that thought. Like the buts and can'ts, and park it knows. I mean, even if you are brand new and you tried for 5 and you only got 1, I'd still be thrilled for you. Would you agree?
Yeah.
I mean, it's really the attitude thing. So you got a great attitude, so now it's time to book as many appointments as possible. Focus on sellers. Buyers will fall in your lap anyways, gang. Don't focus on buyers. Focus on sellers. You sell somebody's house, they probably want you to help them buy a house too. Would you agree?
Yes.
You list the house, you'll probably get some calls on the yard sign. Agreed?
Yes.
Or on the marketing you're doing. So don't worry about the buyers so much. They'll come, and they'll come in droves. You're going to have to figure out which one you're going to work with. But let's focus on sellers. let's try to book some appointments with sellers, right? So the question is here for you is, what is a prospect? What is a prospect? Is it somebody that wants to sell someday?
No.
Some people might say, and if you were newer, it would be fine for you to say, yeah, they could be. Well, maybe, but not quite what we're looking for this answer. Is it somebody that, yeah?
Like a new connection?
A new connection could be a prospect, maybe. But what I'm getting at for the course is we want to make sure that we understand that a prospect is someone who's ready, willing, and able to sign a listing agreement when?
Today.
Today. Or a buyer contract when?
Today.
Today. So keep writing your notes there. You might want to turn to the page there, Terry. Okay? So, that's the kind of business we're looking for right now. Fair enough, gang?
Yes.
Because after all, if we have somebody that wants to list now and we price it right, I know you're starting to earn money and you will get paid for it. Maybe a month later or 2 months later, depends on the possession date. Isn't that right? The other answers you gave me, nothing wrong with keeping in touch with people that might want to sell or buy later, or a potential, a lead. You're following up with them. But when you call that lead, and if you follow what I'm about to teach you today called the prospecting track, if you follow up on the lead with the prospecting track, you will convert 10 times more than somebody that doesn't use it. What do you think of that?
Great.
A lead comes into your inbox, or somebody phones your cell phone, or you're proactive and you have some numbers to follow up on, and you follow the prospecting track, 10 times better chance for you to book an appointment by using it. And I've had some people, most of you when I teach it will go, this is amazing, this is awesome, I'm going to use it all the time. I even tell you to put the prospecting track on the wall right where you normally sit to do your prospecting. Okay? And some people, very few, but some decide not to. And I'll see them come back in week 3, 4, 5, and they're having trouble. And I'll say, how are you using the prospecting track? No. Well, I even give it to them. It's in the book. So are you going to use it if it can be that successful for you? Are you going to use it?
Yes.
Right? Because it works 10 times better than what you could ever do. So how do we generate leads? So I think if you were at the free event that did I don't know, what was it, September something, I can't remember what the date was, but we had about 25 people here, and I said, you know what, there's 2 methods to generate leads. And there was 5 proactive ways and 6 reactive ways. You might recall that, okay? So that's what I'm going to bring up right here for you. One of the first ways is proactively. So Arbaz did a proactive activity. What did he do this week? That's a proactive activity. So that'll come up on the screen. And after we talk about or mention the 5 proactive activities, I'll mention the 6 reactive or marketing ideas, and today we're going to focus on the proactive activities and the prospecting track, at least part of it. We actually did part of it last week, so we'll do the rest of it today. As for the marketing ideas, that's all next week. That's, I guess proactive is where you need to put some time into it and some effort. Are you willing?
Yes.
Yeah. Marketing or people reacting to your marketing is where you got to spend a little what?
Money.
Maybe not spend, let's call it invest. Because as soon as we go spend or lose money or waste money, any of that thinking, we won't do it, right? And that's not the right mentality for an entrepreneur. An entrepreneur would be, if you have a trainer come into town and show you exactly what works, you would be wise to invest in that to get a large return. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And otherwise your business is never open for business. You're like a secret agent. Nobody even knows about you. And you don't want to be that secret agent, right?
Yes.
Okay, so let's do proactive. So the first proactive activity that you should start with is pick a community and maybe start to get involved a little bit with that community. And what kind of community am I talking about? Well, if you live in an area where it's maybe the average sale price in the city-ish, and you can see there's some signs going up and down, then that would be fine. If you're in an upper end area where there's only the odd house goes up, you might want to move a couple neighborhoods over. If your house is worth, let's say, over $1 million in Calgary, let's say 1.5, right? You know that, sure, if you sell a house like that, you're going to get a decent commission, but you won't sell them very often. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Where the average sale price in Calgary is probably around $450, is that right? Okay, so pick between 350 and 500 sort of thing. you know, or 400 to 500, 400 to 450. So pick a neighborhood like that. And don't worry about any other realtors that are working in the area. There's enough business for all of us. Sounds good?
Yes.
Okay, because I've seen people do that. They go, oh yeah, you know, and I don't want to say any name, let's say Bob Smith or something, right? So Bob Smith works that area, signs are everywhere, you know, and that doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter for you to get the amount of business you want. Just remember that, okay? Fair enough? All right. So pick a community, and before we start doing any, you know, investing, we should get proactive. So what can we do with the community that would get people to maybe get to know us a bit? Any ideas at all in the community? Maybe you could volunteer. So remember, the left page of your book is always blank. I'm going to come up with so many ideas for you. I just recommend you take so many notes, right? So you can go back into your book anytime you want and get those ideas. See, think about this. The audio tracks give you a shorter version of what I teach today, but it's good to hear it over and over because then you remember it easier. True or true?
True.
Okay. In the class, the version you're seeing right now is where you get extended information. That's where you have to take some extra notes. Fair enough? So take some good notes. So what's one thing you could do in the community that might help you to get recognized and maybe people might use you? Or what did I say? Volunteer. Now when you volunteer, maybe you have your company golf shirt on, or you have a pin that shows you're a realtor, because you're not going to go around and bug everybody about business when you're volunteering and helping out with something, okay? What else could you do in a community that might help you to get recognized? You can maybe, any ideas? Maybe it costs you a few cents, but you might want to sponsor a hockey team or a ball team. That's an idea, right? So what was the first one? Volunteer. What was the second one?
Sponsor?
Sponsor, yeah. What else? Anything else you can think of? No?
Host like an event?
Yeah, host an event. That's a
Dog
good
walk,
idea.
or-
Yeah, you could host an event. And, oh, I got two more you can add to that. You should join the Community Business Association as well. And you should also join the local Toastmasters group. Who's in Toastmasters right now? How many of you have heard of Toastmasters? Yeah, so if you get into a business association and you join Toastmasters, you get referrals. And Toastmasters makes you a better presenter, a better speaker. Both of them are probably free to join, and you're just networking. Does that make sense? It's a good way to start your business. You know, you go to a community, you say I live in the area, and you know, I just wanted to see if there's anything to get involved. And then we say, yeah, we do some volunteer this and that. And you go, sure, I don't mind putting in an extra hour or two a week. And remember, you actually get paid for it. You just don't feel like you get paid for it because you think you're volunteering. And some of you may think, I don't know. But trust me, you go, and as long as they can tell you're a realtor, like, you know, if you have a golf shirt that just has the company name right here, people will just say, oh, you're a realtor? You go, yeah. You know, I don't know what you'd be doing. I don't know what communities do when you volunteer. It could be a number of things. Depends on the community, right? But you could be helping out and then say, oh, yeah. Well, actually, my brother's thinking of selling this house, you know? Do you have a card? Yeah, I got one here. Go ahead. And, you know, it's about being out and about, okay? Toastmasters, again, the one I was in for years when I was selling was about 30 people and only one realtor in the whole group. And we met every Friday. And we did, you know, the table talk, the 2-minute thing if you ever been in Toastmasters, but we also had lunch. Had to pay for your lunch, but you know, it was good. And the Business Association is another idea. Okay, so let's see here. That's one proactive activity, is get involved in the community. Let's see what's next, shall we? Oh, there it is, Arvets. Door knocking.
There we go.
Okay, so door knocking. I would say, when we talk about door knocking, let's talk about it for a second here. I mentioned that I'm going to bring them up and then I'll talk about them. Maybe I'll talk a little bit about them also as we go. So door knocking, maybe make a note that you should have a system. And I'll give you some ideas for a door knocking system. You ready?
Yep.
Okay, so a system would be, take a little journal with you. Okay? Every time you go to a house, write down the address first. Everyone's got that? Write down the address. And when you go to the door, make sure you have something of value. Here's a good idea. Print off the sales in the area for the last couple months. Okay? You got that? Did you do that? Because I mentioned it to you last week.
Yeah, I did that.
Okay, so you want to have a door knocking system. So you want to have a journal where you put the address on, and you want to have something of value with you. It could be your postcard, it could be some sales in the area, it could be something, right? Okay. Go to the door, ring the bell, they come to the door, smile, step back a foot or two, and introduce yourself. Like we said last week, what did we do? Introduce ourselves, and then you might want to ask them if they want to what?
Sell.
Sell. That's it. Say, hi, my name is Dwayne with ABC Realty. Use your own name. And I just came by to introduce myself and see if you're interested in selling. And they'll probably say what?
No.
Almost every time you're going to get a no, even if they do want to sell. Everybody knows we just got to get that no out of the way. Everybody always says no. That's our attitude. They're going to say no, so I'm going to ask and I'm going to get it out of the way. And then I'm going to tell them the reason I came by. The reason I came by is I listed another property down the street. So I wanted to come by, let you know, see if you had any questions. Or would you consider selling if you got the right price maybe? Right, so that's where the prospecting track, which you would use either on the phone or in person, see how it is. Introduce yourself from last week. Ask if they want to sell from last week, but now from this week we actually tell them why we came by, the reason. So that's pretty good, right? So again, for your system, it's just put the address, have something. You'll say some of the dialogue I'm about to teach in a few slides, but as you walk away, you're going to make a note. If you put down, if you got their name, they say, yeah, we're not thinking of selling right now, but maybe next year. Oh, okay, what's your name anyways? Oh, my name's Bob, and this is Sue. And you say, hi, Bob, it's Sue. You know, again, my name is Dwayne. And so I'll help, you know, and you might say, I'll keep in touch, okay? And I'll tell you different ways to keep in touch. But you should write that down, at least when you walk away, write down, this is Bob and Sue, and put very nice people. Let them know that you're going to still be door knocking the area. You might pop by and say hi again in a couple months. But you keep a note, because if you go to the next one and somebody just slams the door in your face, or they say some colorful metaphor, or they are just telling you to get lost, you're going to walk and say, don't go back. Right? Don't go back. You know what I mean? But take notes of every single address, and you have a system. And you're going to go back and door knock again. You probably, if you're really motivated and early in your career, I'm going to teach you how to still invest in marketing, but be proactive. So you go from about one deal a month, which is what most successful people do, one deal a month. Let me say it another way. Most people that are new, that become successful, do about one deal a month in their first year. The other 92% do maybe one or two a year and quit after a year. 92% quit. Isn't that something?
Yeah.
So how motivated are you? If you say extremely motivated, then I'm going to show you how to be, how to market yourself, plus be proactive. And by your second year, you're doing over 30 deals. And some of you are already in your second year and your third year, so I'm just trying to help you double your income. But remember this, these are the little things. Like you went door knocking, right? Next time, you're just going to want to make sure that you have something. Maybe you did take something, right?
Yeah.
And you just have that little journal where you write down that address and just take a few notes. Just have it in your hand and have some of your brochures in there as you walk up and say, I'm dressed the way you are, by the way. Dressed like that, right? Okay. So that's the door knocking system. Now, open houses is another way to generate leads proactively. So if you have a new listing, now next week I'll give you 10 ingredients for a successful open house. But for now, I just want to mention, if you're new, you should try to do an open house every week. And you want to find a way to attract people to the open house. But I'll tell you what to do when they come, or a few tips on how to get, either how to get a sale or to get more leads. Would you like that?
Yes.
Yeah, so make a note of this on the left there. Again, for open houses, here's a couple things. Go buy yourself 5 clipboards first. Okay, so write that down, 5 clipboards, minimum. And put together a little sheet that has a questionnaire on it. I would put 5 questions. Okay, you got that? 5 questions? And the questions are irrelevant except for the 5th one. The 5th one should always be, how much do you think the house is worth? How much do you think it's listed for? Or how much do you think it'll sell for? But a question like that, okay? And the first 4, you can put whatever you want. Some examples might be, what's the best feature of the house? What's the worst feature? What's the best feature of the neighborhood? What's the worst feature of the neighborhood? And then how much do you think it'll sell for? How much do you think it's worth, or how much do you think it's listed for? Okay, so you got 5 questions. So, and on the bottom of that page, you want to put a place for them to put their name, their phone number, and if they're working with a realtor or not. Okay, so as soon as you wrote all that down, just put up your hand. And so Now you photocopy maybe about 25 of those maybe, and you put them on the clipboard. I'll repeat everything again because a few people are still taking notes, so I'll make sure that you get your good notes, right? So you can see why I left you a blank page. Look at over there, it's almost, you're just filling it in like crazy. That's good. That's what it's for. And there's way more stuff coming, so keep making sure you're taking good notes. It's just gonna help you make more money. So, let me just say it again. So when people come to the open house, imagine if you advertised enough that you had 25 people come in a 2-hour span. Would that be good or great? That'd be great, right? You have 25 people. I'll teach you next week how to handle all those people and stuff, but when they come in, you're gonna just say to them, here's an idea. What you can do is say, we're doing a little survey, that's why I called it a survey. And we wanted to know if you'd like to participate. Here's a clipboard, and you just go through the house, answer some of the questions, let us know what you think it's worth. And then I'll give you a highlight sheet with the price. Don't give it to them first, tell them to just give it to it after. Now some of you will say, oh, they already know what it's priced at. Don't worry about all that stuff. Just let's uncomplicate things. Let's not second guess. Let's not worry if. Let's just do. One step at a time. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, so come on in, and what if they say they don't want to? Well, then it's up to you if you want to let them, they got to sign in at least. Right, we'll talk about that next week. But for now, you say, here, take this, here's a pen, and when you come back, I got some muffins here, I got some donuts and coffee and whatever. Right, so they go around and they come back and they go, okay, best feature of the house, oh, the master bedroom. Worst feature, oh, the stairs. Best feature of the neighborhood, oh, the trees are beautiful. Worst feature, too much through traffic. They might put that. How much do you think the house is worth? $500K. And then they put their name, phone number, and they tell you if they're working with a realtor, and it's all done. You don't even have to ask them. What do you think of that? So how many of you wrote all that down that I said? Okay, you got it all? Because if you do, and you do it, you'll actually have them where they put their name and number, and if they're working with a realtor. And you should have a spot for the realtor's name. Make a note of that too. Okay? Spot for the realtor's name. So, like we just say name, phone number, working with a realtor, 2 boxes, yes, no, and realtor name. That's it. And then 5 questions on your company letterhead. The best way for the survey approach, you don't have to do this, I'm just giving you some good ideas that work, by the way. That work quite well, right? So they come back and you'd say, oh yeah, okay, so let me see here. And if they didn't fill in their name and number, when they hand it back to you, here's what I recommend you do. When you go, can I see it? And hand it to you and you go, oh, you didn't finish it yet. Hand it back. That's what I'm sorry, you didn't finish it yet. Can you do that? Want to practice that? Turn to the person beside you and say, oh, you didn't finish it yet. Go ahead and say that. Everybody practice it? Oh, you didn't finish it. You just have to put your name on the bottom here. 9 times out of 10, there's people that don't want to put their name and number. We all know that, yes?
Yes.
I don't want to focus on that. Can't focus on that. You have to focus on who's optimistic. And who of you is optimistic?
If we will put,
If you're
there is any
pessimistic.
price, then
Okay.
everyone will put the number.
Yeah, you could say if you don't put your name, you can't be. Actually, next week I'll teach you that if people don't sign in, that you wouldn't even let them in. But with the survey approach, you're getting the name after, so it's hard to do that. But that's how we used to do it. We used to have a registry, and we'd say, sign in, and we'll show you around. And somebody would say, I don't want to sign in, and I'd say, I can't show you the house then. They'd go, really? And I'd go, really? Right? That's it. Oh, then you get the odd person, like, yeah. Say, next, come on in, sign in, please. And the next people are like, oh yeah, okay. But who's responsible for the house?
You are.
Not me, the realtor, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So anyways, the open house survey approach, then they say, hey, it's worth $500,000, and you say, okay, here's a highlight sheet, and it's listed at $525. They said it's worth $500, and it's listed at $525. They're saying they feel it's worth less, right? So keep that survey approach so you can sit down with the sellers and reposition this property after your open house. You got somebody that said it's worth less. Maybe you have 4 of them, 5 of them that say less. So that's pretty good. Make a note of that. Okay, it will help you get a price reduction. What if they say it's worth $550 and it's listed at $525? Pull out your offer to purchase. Encourage an offer. Say, well, if you knew you could get it for $25 less, would you? Yeah. What's it listed at? $525. Really? Holy cow! We looked at a couple other ones down the street, and they were not even anywhere near as nice as this. Well, let me just lock the door and let's sit down and you start writing an offer. Right? Now, I've written offers at an open house many times. I don't know if maybe Peter has too. A lot of you are new, so I get it. You will though. The only thing that gets in the way from this happening is one thing. What is it? It's yourself. It's your mindset. Some people will think, some people think they won't want to write, so I don't ask them. People won't want to sign in, so I'm not doing the survey. The seller won't reduce the price because he told me he won't, so I'm not going to show him this. So it's your decision making on the pessimist side that's messing up everything. Right? You got to just get rid of all that and just say, I'm just going to take it one step at a time. Just stay on track and get used to it yourself. Right? Don't keep going on the they said this, they won't do that, all that stuff. Just do. Okay. So let's see the open house. We'll get into more of that next week as well. But a good tip. I mean, if you don't want to do the survey approach with how many clipboards?
5.
Yeah, you get 5, 3, 6. I don't know. Whatever you think. I said 5. You know, you had one. And you may only need 2. I mean, if you have a lineup of people that want to get in. But one quick question: if you got 10 people that showed up all at once, do you just open the door and let them all come in?
No.
I like that. All the new people. No, that's right. You just make them wait. I'll teach you how to do that next week. Okay. All right. Next one was for sale by owners and expireds. For sale by owners and expired. So what's a, it says FSBO, what is that? For sale by owner, right?
Yes.
So, but don't call a FSBO when you see them, because they act kind of weird. It's, hey, FSBO. Expireds, you all know what FSBOs and expireds are, right? So we're gonna actually talk about FSBOs near the end of today and the value of them. How many of them do you have to talk to find one that wants to sell?
1.
1. How many you gotta talk to find one that wants to use you?
1.
No, it might be 10, maybe 20, maybe 3. It's never this 1 out of 1, that's for sure. You know, because it just depends on the timing, right? You know, and expires we're going to talk about at the end of next week's lesson. Who's coming back next week? 1, 2, all good. All right. And the number 1 way, even though it's number 5 on the thing, it is the best way to generate leads proactively, is to warm call your sphere of contacts. And I'll tell you what the NTL and the NTS is. It is neighbor to listings and neighbor to sales. Okay, so the number 1 way to proactively generate leads is to start calling those 25 names you have to get each week that you put into Exact Contact, and or contact every neighbor to your new listing when it's listed and when it sells. Neighbor to listing, neighbor to sale. Does that make sense? Now, what other credibility do you need to talk to somebody when you actually have a listing across the street? And better yet, what if it has a sold sign on it? That's pretty good credibility, would you agree? All right. So let's give you the other 6, but we will talk about them next week. I'll just bring them up for you, and you can write while I talk here. And I got another slide to go through, and then we will take a break. It's almost 11. So reactively, and we're going to talk more about the proactive activities today. We're still going to talk about this, okay? Everybody's clear on that? This, I'm just letting you know it's coming. We're not talking about that today.
Okay.
I mean, if you wanted to ask me a question about it at the break or after class, that's fine. I don't hold anything back, but I'm just letting you know, lesson 2 is about